Just write down a few points that come to your mind when you talk about work-life balance in Ramadan. And you can post your questions in chat box, or you can unmute your mic and ask your question directly. We are here. Faisal Bhai is here. Nair Bhai is here. We will answer your questions. Excellent. I haven't seen any hands yet, so I assume that you're writing your points.
Assalamu alaikum. Well, I can see we have got mixed audience. We have some working professional, and we have some homemakers and mothers as well over here that I could identify from the names. So let's begin. Let's begin the discussion, and you can post your questions anonymously if you would like to. Rename yourself anonymous one and then pose the questions if you don't want yourself to be revealed, and inshallah we'll try to answer your questions. So what we'll do is that we will try to answer both of the sides, the male participant and the female participant, inshallah. All right. So I have a question here. When it comes to work-life balance, so imagine for men, it is their job and as well as their family life and with the additional activities of Ramadan. This is what I understand. And for women, it is their household work, the house chores, and taking care of the family as well as some additional activities related to Ramadan. So this is what I could understand from top of my head. If you have a different picture, please come up with your suggestions. So I have some few notes in front of me, so I'll refer back to my notes as and when required. So my first question is that what is a balance that you have in your picture? What is the picture of your balance that you have? So if anyone could share some idea, please, you're more than welcome. Okay, so anyone would like to say anything over here? Share something, idea, some questions in the chat. All right, so I'll just wait for a few seconds before I could respond.
I think Mr. Moinuddin wants to share something. Go ahead, Mr. Moin. You can unmute yourself and you can speak.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
So work-life balance for me is actually, when I think of work-life balance during Ramadan, is actually spending more time spiritually, and at the same time be more efficient with the work. So when I say efficient, just plan out everything, so that your focus is during Ramadan, because you get only 1 month, to grow yourself spiritually. So that's what I think of when I think about work-life balance during Ramadan, to be more like efficient during this whole month with all the other things. And a major chunk of your time should be spent, growing yourself spiritually. That's what I think of when we talk about work-life balance.
Thank you very much for your inputs. So I would like to take a deeper dive here. So you have mentioned two things over here: efficiently as well as more spiritually. So how do you quantify this in terms of number of hours, in terms of milestones? Let's take a spiritual. So do you want to spend some extra time? So if yes, how much time would you like to spend here?
Yeah, that's definitely it. Because when I think of, I think of the number of hours and, the 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 quantity and the quality time spent on spiritual growth. It could be, a recitation of Holy Quran, putting in some extra time. It could be, going through a translation, or, offering, extra rakats of salah. So it could be multiple things. Usually we are so busy uh, during, rest of the months, that we tend to neglect all these aspects. And Ramadan is a great time to reflect on ourselves, and, try to spend more time doing these things. So yeah, primarily I'd say, yeah, spending more time on, doing things that grows you spiritually.
All right. So before anything, Brother Moin, I would like to thank you sincerely for stepping forward and entering into this dialogue, so that we can develop this step by step together, inshallah. So let's go forward. So when you say more time for recitation of Holy Quran, all right, probably you muted everyone, and so was I. All right. So when you say more time for recitation of Quran and let's say translation and extras and all that, before going anything further, I would like to find out what is the level of importance of all these that you mentioned. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important it is for you? It sounds like a dumb question, but I would like to find out your opinion.
Uh, this is very important to me personally. It's really important.
On a
Uh,
scale of 1 to 10, where
on a
10 is
scale
high.
of 1 to 10, I'd say definitely 10.
All right, says 10 out of 10. All right. And what is your level of commitment, Brother Me?
During Ramadan, obviously the commitment goes high. Uh, uh, and if you're talking, apart from Ramadan, then the commitment is on and off. So it fluctuates.
All right. So let's say when you say high in Ramadan, we are focused currently. We are focused only on Ramadan, work-life balance in Ramadan. So let's talk about Ramadan only. So 10 by 10. Can I say 10 by 10? Your level of commitment and seriousness?
At the moment, I wouldn't say 10 by 10, but yes, the seriousness and the importance is 10 by 10.
Seriousness or importance. You know why I'm asking this question? Let me tell you a real life example. I happened to coach a gentleman sometimes back. He was a senior manager, managing a team of 10 to 15 people. So if I asked him a question, that if there was one thing in your life that you would like to change, what that will be? So the guy said that I would like to quit smoking. I asked him the same question that I asked you just now. I asked him how important it is. He says it is as important as 11 out of 10. Means so important, highly. Then I asked him, what is your level of commitment? And he said, my level of commitment is only 2 out of 10. And then he started laughing because he knew what he has responded with. With level of commitment 2 out of 10, things don't move. So sometimes we say that we are highly committed, but our words are not matching our actions. Our words, I
Mhm.
repeat, our words don't match our actions. I don't say it is happening in your case, but we need to understand that there's something which is level of importance and there is something which is level of commitments. These are entirely two different things. So in my little coaching experience, when I worked with many people who were, let's say, obese, or who were, let's say, on the high side of fat, or whatever you may call it. So they really know, everyone knew that they wanted to, the reduction of weight was important, but their actions were not consistent. So let's go forward. So you say it is highly important, it is especially in Ramadan, and you are committed. So let's assume that your commitment level is 9 out of 10, which is a high level of commitment. All right. So let's go forward. So let me give you a brief concept over here, and I hope, inshallah, you will find this beneficial. And I would like you to go and share this concept with everyone. See, whenever in life we start something new and we would like to sustain, there are two forces which are working here. So first force is inspiration. So inspiration usually is an outside element. So that means you see someone and you would like to take his or her good habits. So that person becomes an inspiration. So I'm addressing here not to Brother Moin only, I'm addressing every participant over here. Now, inspiration, and you can call them motivation. Usually it comes from an external stimulant, external agent. You can say someone, maybe you read something, you heard something, you saw someone. These are all inspirations. So then inspiration is required to start something. So this is first force. Now, in order to go further and reach your target, inspiration alone is not enough, because inspiration it becomes weak once you have started. What comes next over here is a second force, which is called determination. Determination helps you reach the end, right? So inspiration lets you start, and determination takes you further till you reach your end. If the determination level is equally high, then it will take you towards the end. So I'll give you one simple example. When you start your vehicle, your car, you drive your car, you put that into a drive mode if you have an automatic, or if you put this into a first gear if you're driving a manual car. So the first gear, in either of the conditions, the first gear is required to start the vehicle from the rest. But once the vehicle comes in the flow, in the motion, then you need to change gears. Then you go to the second, third, and fourth, and fifth, and so on and so forth. In automatic transmission, this happens automatically. In manually, you do it by yourself. The principle remains the same, means the gear changes inside. Similarly, your inspiration is like first gear, which moves you from rest, from zero to some motion. And then your remaining gears should be there to take your motion further. Now, the point over here that in like automobiles, you have separate gears, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth. In your life, your determination is built on your small little habits which support your motion. So what are small little habits that you create? It gives you, it plays a long and deeper role in your life, small little habits. So let's come back to our discussion. So when you say you are it is important, and your level of commitment is also high, let's go to the next step. The next step is,
I
yes,
have a question here.
please.
What if somebody has something is very important for someone, like in this case, if achieving this work-life balance, as Mr. Moin has mentioned, is very important for him, but he doesn't find himself committed to that despite everything. What should he do? What are the tips for him?
All right, thank you very much for this question, Umar bhai. What we see in our life is that without level of commitment, nothing moves. So if the level of commitment, or of course we are not referring this to Brother Moin, we are referring to this question, which is, let's say, anonymous question. So if the level of commitment is lesser, then things don't move. Now the question is that how do you move your level of commitment to the next higher level? Now what happens that initially, and it is from Shaitan. Shaitan makes things so big and so daunting that we become afraid of taking the second step or the third step, or small little steps. So how do you build your level of commitment? By doing something small, and something which is easily repeatable, doable, trackable, and so on and so forth. So I happened to coach a gentleman over here sometimes back. This guy came up with very interesting things. Umar bhai, this will help your question, inshallah. So what this guy did, he said my level of commitment is low, and I'm not able to sustain whatever I'm doing. So what he did, and he started with very small things in Ramadan. So I'll give you an example, and it's a real life example. It happened some many years back. So he said, in maybe whatever amount of time that is allowed, that time or my work schedule allows, I'll read Quran. And but what I will do is that I will do one small thing in Ramadan, which I've never done this before. And he said that he will start praying 2 rakat after every time he makes wudu. So what he did, he started trying. He said, he did not say that he will be in the state of wudu every time, but he said, I will start this habit to be in the state of wudu as much as possible. And whenever I make wudu, I will pray 2 rakat. So I happened to meet him later on. MashaAllah, he has been able to do this. So I came. This is one guy. I'm giving an example. So I came across another gentleman. He said that he never used to pray. I'm talking about small little habits. This is how you build your commitment, step by step. So another gentleman, he said that in a few years back, he said, I'll start praying extra 2 rakat. And Brother Moin, this you may find this relevant as well. So he said that I'm not able to find my commitment, but since this is something small, let me commit to it. So he said, I'll praying extra 2 rakat after every Maghrib as a shukr, means salat of gratitude or thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he started during Ramadan. 2 rakat is very easy. It doesn't take a lot of time. But mashallah, he has been able to build this habit over a period of time. So people have been doing this. So I can tell you a number of small things that you can build as a part of your habit, and it goes a long way in your life, creating a big change in your life over a period of time. Small little habits. So when we coming back to your question when you said that if a person has a low level of commitment, I repeat my point that with low level of commitment, things don't move much. Now, how to create commitment? If your level of seriousness is high, then you start creating small little habits one at a time. I repeat, one at a time. Take care of your habits and make sure that you don't uh, bombard yourself with so many things together that you're not able to sustain. Create one, then see if it is sustainable, then go to the second one and third one, and so on and so forth. I hope I answered your question. So let's go to Brother Muin's point. So he said that it is important for him, and it is he is highly committed as well. So let's take the further step. Now, in order to be able to reach somewhere, you need to be clear on where you are. So I would like to ask you that currently, and you can come up with any arbitrary figure, and anyone else can respond here as well. What is the current amount of time that you would like to what is the amount of time that you would like to spend in your recitation of Quran and translation and prayers in Ramadan, and what is the time that you currently spend? Means, where do you want to reach and where you are. So are you clear about this? So if not, then you have to be clear about this. It's not about talking about quality. It's also about spending amount of time in each. So let's say you want to let's say the amount of prayers in normal days and in Ramadan is same, but Taraweeh takes, let's say, an hour more, right? So that means whatever you're talking about, you're not between the difference between your current and your Ramadan state of affairs is in terms of prayers, you need extra 1 hour. Fine. So let's note down that you need extra 1 hour for Taraweeh, for Salah. So 1 hour for Salah. All right. Fine. Let's go to the next point that Brother Moin mentioned, which is translation. Okay. So reading translation. How much amount of time you would like to spend in reading translation? So let's say 15 minutes. Start small. So 15 minutes. 15 minutes for translation. All right. Then you said recitation, translation, exercise. Okay, recitation. So let's say how much usually people are able to recite one juz of Quran in half an hour to 45 minutes. So let's take on a higher side, 45 minutes. So 45 minutes of Quran. So that means 1 hour for Salah extra, 15 to 45, 15 plus 45. That means you're talking about 2 hours extra in a day when it comes to Ramadan. 2 hours extra per day. Now let's see what are the other things where you can cut down 2 hours. Maybe your social media, let's say WhatsApp, or responding to WhatsApp messages or whatever. Maybe your time for reading newspapers. Maybe because working hours already reduced in all Muslim countries, mashallah, the working hours reduced. So that means you're already getting 2 hours from your work time. So that means 2 hours here you can easily getting out of your work time. So that means your time is net to net balance. So in this case, you should not have any problem. So if you're not able to find time, let's say from working hours, then what are the other activities that you can cut down? So let me say, I have some list over here, which is I can show you on my screen here, which says maybe you can cut down on sleeping time, possibly. and you can cut down on maybe a little bit on exercise time. See, I remember in our previous session last Saturday, we talked about this specifically that in Ramadan, you cannot take full heavy duty load and continue to do the same and expect everything to be accommodated. No, time is 24 hours. You need to drop some of the activities that you think can be dropped. So maybe if you have been spending 2 hours at the gym every day before Ramadan, or let's say thrice a week, cut down on the gym. So what is the bare minimum exercise that you can sustain during home workouts? Plenty of applications are available. I usually use a 7 minutes workout and plus some extra workouts on a day-to-day basis, in or even outside Ramadan, and mashallah that have been very easily sustainable and giving good results as well. So what are the other things where you can squeeze some time so that you can reduce some units from there and add over here? So inshallah, you will find this exercise helpful. So anything else that may come to your mind, please bring up. And I hope I've been able to answer your question, Brother Moin. If not, please open your mic and you can speak up again.
Yeah, thank you so much. I have one question though.
Please.
How do you maintain or how do you increase your motivation level? So you said that the starting point is the inspiration. You get the inspiration from somewhere, and then that's the starting point. And how do you maintain that determination? For determination, obviously you need a motivation, right? So how do you maintain and how do you, with the commitment, yes, but I think there is a slight gap between, determination, getting to that determination level. There is a gap. How do you fill that gap?
So
Well,
two
let me
things
answer.
over here. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so one of the best ways to do that is to break your actions into such a small step, a very tiny, make it so tiny that you achieve something every day or every time slot that you have given yourself. Achieve something in that time frame, and that you can do that by breaking your actions into very tiny little baby steps. When you keep on achieving something every time frame that you've given yourself, automatically you get more motivated. So keep on achieving things, be more motivated, and you'll find yourself doing bigger things in the eventually. So that's one way of doing it. Nearby.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let me add something here. What you can do is you can whenever you define your goals, you must define them on some kind of numeric scales. That where do you stand and where do you want to go? And as you progress with your journey and you do certain activities, try to reassess where do you stand now after completing a certain milestone. So looking at that graph or plotting that graph will help you see that you're covering up some journey and then you are getting closer to your goal. This actually helps you keep your motivation high.
So can I add a few more things over here, which can help you a great deal, inshallah. Another important thing which helps you build your motivation and continue to sustain that is the company of good people. So make sure that your friends and your family members or someone is there to help you to continue to inspire you. So whatever it is a good habit, you're talking about good habits. So sometimes I happen to coach a gentleman who stopped doing exercise. So I asked him that has been there a time in your life when you were exercising regularly, and he says a couple of years before he was able to do that. I asked him what was different at that time. He said I had a friend at that time. He happened to be with me in my exercise schedule. All right. So this I did not advise him anything, but this question alone helped him understand that a presence of a buddy helped him at that time. So he was willing to take someone on board again. So this is one thing. The other thing is that if you can start tracking means tracking your activities, whatever that you want to do. Let's say you're talking about recitation of Quran or praying extra salah. Track day by day as to how much you have been able to do. So that also helps you build your motivation and as well as your trackability. So I remember one more situation where a client said that I would like to pray with Jama all my five, but I have a challenge that my Asr is not getting done with congregation with Jama. So I asked him nothing to do. Only thing that I suggested him to do is first of all, if you can mute people, yeah. So the only thing that I suggested him to do is to keep tracking. So after he returned after first week, so out of seven, he said that three Asr prayers. We were talking about only Asr, right? Rest of them were all right. So three Asr prayers were with Jama and four without Jama. I said, okay, continue tracking. Next week he came back again and he says that ratio has reversed. So the ratio has become 7, 7 and 6. So more with Jamaat and less alone. So what happens that when you track, you are able to see your performance by yourself, and it helps you a great deal on understanding what is working well and what is not working well. Tracking gives you a lot of visibility in on your own self, nothing but what your own self. So we, as Muhammad Al-Sharif, the gentleman who is a graduate from Medina University, he runs an institute called Al-Maghrib based in Canada and also in Dubai. He runs a lot of courses. So he mentioned in one of the courses three things, trackability in three things. He said, you must track whatever that you spend if you want to saving. You must track your time if you want to spend your time in something useful. And if you want to improve your health, you must track what do you eat. Three things. So in my own life, I have done this tracking in all these three different areas of my life and found them very useful. Alhamdulillah. So coming back to your point, how do you build motivation? Let's summarize. So Mirabai said that you need to build small little steps. And Fazlai, you mentioned something. Please, if you can repeat, so that Brother Moin can summarize.
Actually, I was saying about tracking, the thing that
About
you
tracking,
highlighted
all right.
earlier.
Okay, so I also mentioned tracking, and I also mentioned that you need to have a company of good friends, maybe your friends and colleagues, or maybe your family members who can help you do that, do whatever good action, good deed that you would like to continue with.
One another thing that you can do is you can create some kind of external accountability. You can create a group of people with similar interest, and you can declare your goals publicly with only your sincere friends, so that they can always remind you and they will help you get your focus back whenever you are in strain.
Excellent idea. This is called accountability. So one of the principles of coaching. Coaching helps you develop clarity in whatever that you want to do. It helps you develop a plan, then execute the plan with full focus and accountability. So this reminds me of another thing. First of all, can we take some few minutes? We are already at 1:30
Yeah,
p.m.
sure.
All right, so few minutes, guys. Always remember one thing. Whatever that you decide to do, always ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? What I'm doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And is this the right time to do? So when you ask back this question to yourself, let's say anything additional for Ramadan, then yes, you have a strong purpose behind that, because purpose, it keeps you motivated. If this is what you want to do, this is the purpose. Why do you want to do that? So purpose behind means why behind the what. So this why supports the what. So whatever that you want to do, if there's a why, it will continue, inshallah. It will help you build or sustain your determination. So I would go, I can go on and on about this, but let's take another question if we have any more. Fazla, do we have any questions? I think I can see something in the chat. We can work as well as spend time in Quran. All right, Sister
It's
Sumaya,
more of
thank
a
you very much.
comment than
Yeah,
question. Yeah.
yeah, we can work as well. Spend time in Quran. Okay. All right. So anyone else? Okay. So if there's no one else, let's summarize. Let's summarize our discussion. So we talked about work-life balance. So the first thing that we talked about was the level of importance, how important it is, and the level of commitment. How committed are we about this? If the level of commitment is lesser, then things usually don't move. So if the level of commitment is as high as maybe 8 or 9, 9.5, then things move. Otherwise, things don't move. Then we talked about some in terms of number of hours. How much extra time do you want to give to these small little activities that you want to perform during Ramadan? So then we, based on some hypothetical schedule, we came out that we need extra 2 hours for some extra activities. So these extra 2 hours, we as men, we can get from our working hours, especially if you're based in any one of the Muslim countries. If not, where else can you reduce this time, or can you get some this time either from your exercise schedule or from your social media, or from any other activities that you think are more or are less important than your activities in Ramadan. So remove units from there, add into your activities. For mothers and homemakers, they can also take care of this by looking at your sleeping schedule. How many hours do you sleep? So it applies, by the way, this applies both to men and women. How many hours do you sleep in 24 hours? That is very important. So can you reduce your sleep by a small while, maybe in an hour or half an hour? And can you add that amount of time in extra activity of Ramadan? So this is what we talked about, generally speaking. Then we also talked about that inspiration is something which is needed to start, and motivation or determination. Well, I would say inspiration and motivation is more or less on the same thing. Determination takes you long way in your life, and how do you build determination? By building small little habits in your life that supports your goal over a period of time. So this will help you sustain your Ramadan activities, inshallah, out of Ramadan as well. Every Ramadan you can take up something new, and you can continue and build your life. I remember one more thing. Sometimes we see this, Brother Muin and everyone else here. We would like to do something which is how do you say, overstretching or overstretched goals, or something, and we glorify that, and we would like to attain that, and we feel great in achieving that. And at the same time, we overlook small little things here and there in our life. For instance, I'll give you another example. All these examples are from my coaching experience and working with different people. So one guy said that he never prayed 4 rakat before Dhuhr prayers. So he said this Ramadan at least I'll start praying. So he ended up sometimes praying before, sometimes praying after Dhuhr prayers. 4 rakat, which were actually meant to be prayed before Dhuhr. So he started praying after Ramadan, after Dhuhr prayers. But at least he made it a habit during Ramadan that at least he would pray for. So this year I happened to speak to him again, and inshallah he said that this Ramadan he is trying as much as possible to pray 4 rakat before Dhuhr prayers. So if you go to Ahadith, you will find this is a small act of worship, praying 4 rakat of Dhuhr prayers before Dhuhr, but it carries a great reward. So I would not like to say go ahead and further. I would like to recommend you that you go ahead by yourself and find out what is the reward for praying 4 rakat before Dhuhr prayers. May Allah accept our good deeds, and may Allah help us in doing this. I mean, keep praying as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Prayers are, we underestimate, but prayers is one of the biggest asbab of all, because it's Allah's tawfiq that we do. So I remember one more incident. I can tell you on and on. I've got a lot of stories to share. Once we went off-roading. So we had 3 4x4 vehicles. Umar bhai, it will take less than a minute, inshallah. We had 3 4x4 vehicles, and one of them it was a Hummer, and it got stuck in the sand very badly. Hummer is very heavy. You cannot just push it. So fortunately, there were 3 young Saudi men who had Ford Explorer, and they came and they helped us. He said, "You please get out of here. This Hummer, we know how to do this job." And they, within few minutes, they got us out of this Hummer out of the sand. They said, "Do you know the way how to drive out of this desert?" And I said, "Yeah, it's fairly easy and very simple." You know what he said? He looked in my eyes and he says, "Bit tawfiq." It's tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you do everything, even if it is as small as that reaching the end of the desert, which is visible in your eyes. It is hardly a kilometer away, and you know that you can reach there within a few moments. But he says with tawfiq. So it's Allah's tawfiq that we can do anything, whatever we want to do. So I believe I'm done. So Fazal bhai, Umar bhai,
Junaid bhai,
anything else?
we took 7 minutes extra today, and I hope everybody got tremendous value out of those 7 minutes, especially. So I think if nobody has any other question, we can conclude today's session.
So let this be Majlis be somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes. So we'll base 30 minutes, and if there are any questions, we'll take it to wrap up within 45 minutes, inshallah. So I believe we are good in time. And if you have any questions, if you want to post your questions anonymously, you can always do that on your Facebook page or send us wherever means, and we can respond to these questions, inshallah, in our next session. Jazakallah khair. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah help us do whatever we say, and may Allah not make us from the people who say something and do not do that. Ameen, and I look forward to seeing you again, inshallah, next Saturday at 1 p.m. Saudi time. Jazakallah khair for all your presence. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam.